Hello, my name is Michael Grubb from Avatar Energy Mastery Institute, and this particular lesson comes out of the book Engineering Reality, and this particular one is called Learning Oneself Equates to Learning Others. Now, when it comes to self-mastery, one has to do their homework, okay? One has to really, delve into who they are, what makes them tick, okay? This also comes from the section Emotional Sensory Management, okay? So this literally goes back into the idea that you really have to go inside of yourself, find out all the things out there in life and you have to look back into your history. You have to find out all the things in life that triggered you, okay? So what you want to do is you want to look at to the times that you were bullied. Look at to the times where maybe something happened in your home life, or the way a singular person or maybe even a group of people were able to pull your strings, okay? You have to find out what these strings are, okay? So you want to know what tugs at your heartstrings. You want to know what makes you angry. You want to know what makes you happy. You want to know what makes you sad, because these are all sensory input, okay? That's information that your brain is trying to interpret, which basically tells you the resonance of the environment that you're in at any given particular time. So once you're able to really learn what it is that makes you tick, okay, then you can really break down those things and understand why it is that these things bothered you so much. Did you respond to them? You can look back at it and think, did I respond to those particular situations in the most ideal manner? Could I have responded to these situations better? Okay? So, one of the things that I did quite often when I was younger was I would look at myself and I would ask myself a series of questions. Most notably was, in the future, am I going to want to be known for such a thing? Okay? So if I look back on myself, I want to be able to know that my particular life was good enough to where I don't have to look back and go, I wish I had done this instead of that. And so when I do look back on myself and I see some of the things that I've done in particular, as opposed to immerse myself in those particular things, I will dissect that scenario and ask myself how I could have made it better. Okay? Because if you ever end up getting presented with a scenario like this again, you want to be able to have the most ideal scenario. You don't want to run the same loop, because if you run the same loop, then that means you never learned anything from the first time around. Okay? Part of self-mastery is perfecting yourself, perfecting how you see yourself, perfecting the interaction between you and other people. Okay? And so what I did, I had a particularly interesting lifestyle growing up, okay? Part black, part white. Got picked on from both sides. So whether it be at the all-white school I was at or the all-black church, didn't matter. I was always in a situation of some variety, okay? And I looked back and had to dissect why was it so easy to trigger me in so many different scenarios. And in some cases, it wasn't triggering me at all. It was just merely me being ganged up on and picked on, or people who were trying to trigger fights or start something with me that, even though if I tried to walk away, they would get the job done anyway, through the act of aggression. But the times where those didn't happen, the times where I had more control over the situation, okay, what did I do that was wrong? Okay, did I feed into the scenario too quickly? Instead of trying to reason or show any logic within the situation, did I react? Was I reactive? Was I too reactive? Okay, was I too violent? Was I too angry? And so these are the things that I looked at myself and I said, this is what I don't want to be known for. These are all the attributes which got me into trouble, or got other people into trouble, or got me hurt, or other people hurt. Okay? So whether it be physical or psychological, I had to look into all of these points of my life in which my ego got the best of me, as opposed to me being able to really look at the situation, break it down, and come out with the most ideal scenario. I had a situation happen one time. Here's an example of being able to manage a situation and manage it well. Okay, this was a few years ago. I nearly got into a fight. This was I was working as a bouncer, and a man had come in and for some reason had picked out this other guy in the bar as a target, someone he thought that was going to be easy prey. Well, that guy figured out that I worked there quickly, and he came up to me, not the muscle-bound guy that was going to fight the other guy, but the guy that realized that he was the target. He came up to me and asked me for help. Well, we ended up going outside, and I'm talking to the guy who was scared, and as we're getting ready to go back inside, the mean muscle-bound guy comes out. Okay, and at this point, he's taken off his shirt. He's got a wife beater shirt on. He's showing the muscles. He's real steamed. He wants to fight. Well, the first thing he does is he looks at the guy and he says, "Are you ready?" The guy, of course, is scared to death, and he starts trying to hide behind me. And then the big guy, the muscle-bound guy, starts laughing, and he says, "Are you hiding behind your boyfriend there?" Basically, just, you know. Well, anyway, he says something to the degree of, "I'm going to kick both of your butts." And then he automatically gets chest to chest with me. So you already know it's one of those situations where, you know, it's going to be a silly little push match until someone takes a swing. Well, he immediately starts telling me how he's going to beat me up, all the different ways he's going to mess me up and everything else. And then I looked him directly in the eye. Okay? And as opposed to try to pour gasoline on the situation, I look at him and I say, "You know, I can tell on a normal basis you're an extremely nice guy, great guy to be around, but right now you've just had too much to drink." And I said, "You're the type of person I'd probably hang out with on a normal basis if you weren't drinking right now." And immediately the guy's demeanor changed. He went from being all puffed up, like a steroid, okay? He went from being all puffed up to looking at me and then apologizing and saying I appealed to one aspect of his ego at that point. When you're not drunk, you're a nice guy. Well, he latched onto that part of himself that he wanted to like. And he said, "You know, you're right. When I'm not drinking, I am a nice guy." And then the next thing that happened is he started feeling bad. And then he went in and insisted that he buy me a beer. Okay? Now, this is a guy that was really going to do the deed. He was going to fight. Okay? He had made up in his mind that he was going to fight that night. And if you had seen him with your own eyes, you would already know that this is just the type of guy he was. But instead of feeding into the idea that I need to defend myself, I decided to do a different game, play a different sort of a chess game. Why go into that? You know, I've done a million fights in my life. Why not appeal to this man's sense of rationality within himself? Okay? Instead of me even throwing it on to me or someone else, why would you want to hurt me or why would you want to hurt him? Instead, I went into the mind and I said, "This is what you probably normally are. Why aren't you behaving like this right now?" Okay, so the guy has to go in there. He has to look at himself for a split second. Okay, as opposed to becoming an external situation where this man wants to fight me, he has to look at himself. And at that point, he's asking himself, "Is this what I want to be?" Okay, well, that's something that almost everyone should do. You have to look inside and understand what it is that makes you tick, why it makes you tick, why the triggers exist in the first place. Okay, you have to dissect that portion of yourself. And you have to get to the root of the problem. Okay? Were you shown enough love? Do you show enough love? Okay? Are you an argumentative person? Are you an angry person? Are you a hateful person? Why is it that it takes so very little or so very much to make you snap? Okay? What is it about yourself that you do not like? What is it about yourself that you do not like that you don't want to see in others? These are all things, once you identify them, you work on these things from the inside out, okay? So this goes into the portion of understanding the ego, okay? It goes into many other portions of even understanding the machine and how that operates, okay? So it's really important to learn yourself from the inside out, because almost everyone thinks the same way. As much as we tend to believe that we are different from one another, believe me, I mean, I get to see that on a daily basis. There's people who want to be special than other people. There's people who want to be stronger. They want to be smarter. They want to be faster. Okay, I hear it all. And the fact of the matter is, when it comes down to it, we all pretty much think the same way. All of us want to be loved, and to a certain degree, all of us want to be noticed and recognized. Okay, that's part of the ego program that exists in us. Okay, the ego wants to be recognized. It wants to be special. Okay, well, all you have to do is understand that. Okay, and really thoroughly understand yourself, because like I said, there's not too many differences within the DNA code out there. There's not too many variations in carbon, although it would look that way. And they're just mathematical tweaks and little differences. And intrinsically, I mean, when it comes to religion, when it comes to mathematics, when it comes to language, almost everything looks roughly the same with a few exceptions. Okay, so human beings are more alike than they are different, especially when it comes to sensory inputs and how we perceive things. Humans are pretty much very close. So the thing is once you learn yourself and you learn all your own triggers and all your own egoic tendencies from the inside out, you are literally learning every single person on the planet. And then it makes it very easy for, once you have overcome all of your problems and all of your egoic tendencies, once you have done these sort of things, it makes it very easy for you to help counsel others, because you've walked a mile in their shoes at that point. Okay? You know, experiences create wisdom. Knowledge also creates wisdom. Okay? Knowledge, all knowledge is information which has been successfully applied. Okay? So if you've experienced some sort of a situation and you can say that you experienced that and it worked out, then at that particular point, it's no longer experience or whatever, it becomes knowledge. Okay? So 1 plus 1 equals 2. I know that one finger plus the other finger gives me 2. So that's knowledge right there. Okay? It may not be the same way in other zones or in other world lines or other dimensions, but right here, right now, that's what it means. Okay? And so I always work with the rule set of the environment that I'm given, and then I work around that rule set by hacking. And then once I've hacked the information that I need, I give that knowledge back to the people around me who are willing to learn it and accept it and understand it. One must learn themselves inside and out and thoroughly to become a good self-mastery practitioner. Okay? The reason is because if you don't learn all the things within you that make you tick, okay, subconsciously you start to weave in all of those negative tendencies into the creation that you're making. Okay, so you want your creation to be, the foundation of that creation to be powerful. You want it to be strong. You don't want it to crumble at any sort of little wind that comes by. That's the reason why you build upon a foundation of truth, of knowledge, of love, of wisdom. Okay? And then you unwrite all of the egoic tendencies and all the subconscious psychological tendencies that are embedded deep in you, and you write those out of your new creation. The thing is once we learn how to use our avatars and the circuitry, then we at that point can apply that knowledge of energy and how energy works because of thought and observation, and then we can apply it into creating a brand new beautiful reality void of all the psychological trauma that we have grown up with. Okay? Unconditional love to all. Learning oneself equates to learning others.